Okay, so welcome to the Research Capacity Development Unit at the University of Johannesburg Postgraduate School. My name is Kokezo Pila, and I will be your moderator for today. And please allow me to start off by thanking all our attendees for taking their time to join us. And most importantly, we would like to thank our presenters for their effort in preparing and giving this presentation. And before I officially introduce the facilitators to you, I would like to go over some housekeeping rules and some important information. So for the housekeeping rules, if you do have a question during the presentation, please raise your hand if you would like to speak, or you can type your question in the chat box. I will then indicate to the presenter to address your question. And as I have stated, that the session will be recorded, and the recording will be uploaded on our Moodle community. And also there's going to be a feedback survey that will be sent out on the chat box. Please may we request that you fill the survey out for us to gain some insight on whether this workshop was useful or not, and how we can improve in the future, as well as to provide some kind words to our facilitators. And this will also be used for facilitators and LCD reporting and issuing of certificates. So this session has 5 units today. So we have 5 different units that are going to be presenting, and we will start off with the UJ Sport, and then we will go to the Arts and Culture, and then the SRC, and then we will go to Technology Transfer Office, and lastly, we will have the Protection Services. And all the units have 20 minutes to present, so we can also allow for some question and answer. If the students have some questions that they will want to ask, we will allow for that. So without wasting any more time, I will introduce the UJ Sports. So UJ Sports will be represented by Ms. Farheti. And AUJ Sport aims to develop the holistic student athletes and sustain young talent by providing the ultimate student experience, quality university sport participation opportunities, and the best coaching personnel. Without wasting any more time, I will hand over to Ms. Farheti.
Thank you ever so much, and good morning, everybody. Are you okay with me just doing my presentation, or would you like me to turn on my camera?
It's okay if you just do your presentation, it's okay.
Probably a better thing this cold morning. Right, I'm going to share my screen quickly, and then we can get started. I'm not going to take up the full 20 minutes. I know the information we're giving, you'll have all of the information, and I'll make sure that it's short, sweet, and to the point. So good morning, everybody. My name is Neve. I'm from the University of Johannesburg Sport, as you know. I'm the Events and Marketing Manager. And today I'm just going to take you through a little bit of who we are at UJ Sport and how we break everything down. So who we are a unit of the university, shaping African university sport through excellence, honor, and victory. And our mission is to educate, empower, and encourage participation in university sport. We are very proud to say we have got an unbelievable host of students that participate under us. And I don't know, just as a random throwing it in there if you know this, but we have got 3 students that are going to be at the, well, 2 that are at the Olympics at the moment, and 1 that's going to be at the Paralympics, which is a fantastic feat for the University of Johannesburg. So within the clubs, we have got a number of sporting codes that or clubs that we have within UJ Sport. Those are athletics, basketball, cricket, football, hockey, netball, rowing, rugby, squash, and then our sports for students with disabilities. And obviously within all of these clubs, you've got our clubs where they pay their membership fees to be a part of the club and participate throughout the year. These clubs, we do participate and have trials in the beginning of the year for each of those sporting codes. And all of these trials are on our social media pages. So if anybody is interested in becoming part of the sporting clubs, they are welcome to contact any of our managers along the way. As I say, we have got a huge amount of clubs, and all of those managers are experts within their own field. So if there are any questions that you have with regards to participating in sport, you are welcome to contact one of the managers and they'll be able to give you more information. Now, within sport, we are well aware some people are sporty, some people are not. And when you look at sport, it's important that you realize UJ Sport is not just about offering the sporting codes, but we make sure we cater to three different aspects. The first is obviously participating in sport, as I've just taken you through the various sporting codes that the university offers. The second is our events, which we are renowned for. We have some phenomenal events throughout the year. I'm going to show you a video shortly. Unfortunately, the sound doesn't seem to be working your guys' side. It seems to be okay my side, but for some reason it's not playing through. But it'll give you an indication of what our events look like. Students absolutely love them. And it means you don't have to go to the coaching sessions, but you can still be part of the sporting code itself. And the third leg is obviously just following a team or supporting a team. So I just want to show you what our events are about. And that's the next screen here. And I'm going to push play. Again, apologies that there's no sound. Right, so that's there you go. So that's just a bit of fun, seeing what the UJ Sport events are all about. We have an absolutely fantastic time at our events, and if there's one thing we can say about UJ is we have got unbelievable fans. They're actually known as the Orange Army throughout the country, and the Orange Army always arrives in force. So from an events perspective, we have got events throughout the year. Um, they vary from a month-to-month basis, but we start off with our Varsity Cup season, which you've got basically from February until April. You've got your USA Netball, which UJ hosted this year in July. We've got the Varsity Netball, which is coming up. Unfortunately, we're not hosting the Varsity Netball, but the UJ team will be playing, and they are a phenomenal team that you really do want to follow. We've got the UJ Sport Conference, which happens around November. We've got the Future Walk, which is coming up on the 28th of September, which is going to be another great one on the APB campus. You've got your Varsity Football Women's Tournament, which is going to be which is presently happening. The final is actually on the 9th of August, apologies. We've got the FISU Squash Championships in September, where we are going to be seeing the top university-ranked players, squash players from around the world coming to play against us, from countries like Hong Kong. We've got Hong Kong, we've got China, we've got Uganda, Egypt, Australia, and the like. So that's going to be a really exciting one. We also have our IDOS Games, which is International Day of University Sport, where we will be taking on the likes of WITS, as well as doing an internal league with the Stigma League. So there's a huge amount of events that happen at UJ, all super exciting, and students from first years all the way through, as well as staff members, really do enjoy attending these events and supporting our teams. So if you need any more information on these events, it is all posted on our social media sites. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on those and you'll have all of the information. Then moving on to internal leagues. With respect, not all of us were built to be the Olympians. So what we have found is it's important that we have got access for those of us that enjoy just getting out there and having some fun. So we've built in the mass participation into the internal leagues, which is basically the day houses and residences playing up against each other throughout the year. They play in a number of different tournaments and different sporting codes. As you can see there, you've got your athletics, your rugby, your netball, your football, your futsal. Then we've also got our staff football need and our staff netball and staff football league, as well as your SRC Cup, your Stigma Knockout Challenge. And then they do offer an array of various courses, which the students really enjoy learning all about the officialing side of a lot of these sporting codes. And again, they're looking at adding in some additional sports this year with the touch rugby, the mass aerobics, the esports, as well as campus runs. For those who really aren't into the doing the sport side of things, everybody loves to stay fit. A healthy body creates a healthy mind indeed. And we have got our gymnasiums on all 4 campuses. And as you can see there, our mission is to enhance the quality and life in the university we serve and to instill the value and importance of health, fitness, and wellness, while still providing a competitive fitness facility to the university students, staff, and athletes through imagination, conversation, regeneration, and ethical foundation. So our gyms are on all 4 of the campuses, as I've already mentioned. The one at APK is situated right here by my office, which is situated at the top of C parking. APB, it's down by the biokinetics clinic near the entrance of the APB campus. At DFC, it's just above the student center. And then at Soweto, it's on the 2nd floor of the UJ Sports Center. So if you are interested in joining the gym, the contracts are, it's not unlike the Virgin Actives and those sorts of commercial gyms, we are on a month-to-month basis. So there's no deposit that needs to be paid down. You just pay your monthly fee up front. And it really is a great opportunity for you to be at the level of fitness that you deem necessary. So, yeah, those are our gyms. From a supporters kit perspective, it's something that we have noticed is a big need within the university. And we are coming up with a line of kit that will be coming soon, hopefully in 2024, where you are able to buy the supporters kit and, as we say, join the Orange Army and be part of the family. I've already mentioned we really do have an incredible bunch of supporters, and the need is coming directly from them to look and feel the part. So we're really excited about that one. Keep an eye out on our social media pages for more. Then something that we did this year is we have started a UJ Sport app. We found there is a need coming from the community where people really wanted to get to know our athletes a little bit better. It's great that Cheswell Johnson is actually on this page. He's one of our Olympians that is at the Olympics at the moment. He's if I'm not mistaken, triple jumper. But Cheswell, phenomenal guy and phenomenal athlete. You'll see if you download the app, it's in the Play Store or in the Apple Store. Download the UJ Sport app. You get to see a little bit more about our athletes. And when we say athletes, we mean that across the board, from our netball players to our from athletics to hockey to rowing to netball. You can find out a little bit more about each and every one of our incredible athletes. what their personal bests are, etc. And it also just keeps you up to date on things like your supporters kit, as well as what events are coming up, and what you can participate in. Then next up, as we know, in this day and age, it's all about social media. So follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and if you've got any queries or questions, you're most welcome to email us. I've put Colin, our communications manager's email down there, and he'll be able to push you in the right direction. But in a nutshell, I think that is pretty much UJ Sport. And at the end of the day, we just got to remember it's UJ all the way. And that is it from UJ Sport. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much, Ms. Neve, for your presentation. I think in the midst of academics and research and everything, it is very important that we also become active, engage in very active activities for our mental health. So I think this presentation was very important. Do we have any questions from Ms. Neve? Okay, no questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Oh, I see there is a hand from James.
Yes, you may unmute yourself and ask your question, James. Unmuted, James. Would you rather type your question in the chat box because we can't hear you? Unmuted. Okay. I think we will wait for your question on the chat because I don't know if you're having problems with unmuting or but you can also type your question in the chat box. Okay, so in that case, thank you so much, Ms. Nee, for your presentation, and thank you so much for honoring our invitation to come and present on behalf of UJ Sport. We really appreciate your effort in preparing this presentation and presenting to us. Thank you very much. We will pass the question to you once Mr. James is able to speak, because right now we cannot hear him at all. Okay, I see there is something on the Q&A section. Let me just check quickly, maybe. Okay, yes, Mr. James says, I have not seen games such as chess, badminton, and TT. Are these available?
Can you hear me or am I muted?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fabulous. James, that's a great question. Thank you so much for raising it. So we do have chess. We've actually got a very active chess club. And Elise Leroux is the manager of the chess club. We've had a couple of tournaments this year. They do, as far as I'm aware, they do both online and in-person games. At all of our events and activations, we actually have chess games. And it is the one sport that I find incredible. No matter what time the event finishes at, the chess players will always be there for at least another 2 to 3 hours. They really are very dedicated to their trade. Badminton, unfortunately, we do not have. And table tennis, we also don't have. We usually, just from a funding perspective, we need to focus our resources as best we can into the sporting codes that we have on a greater scale. So we do, in actual fact, have some really strong table tennis players. I'm trying to think what her name, I think it's Denisha Patel, is a alumni. She used to be one of our students that's quite high up in the table tennis, but they don't play for UJ, they play for their specific clubs. But she's one of the South African table tennis players that work there through the UJ systems. So unfortunately, we can't, as much as we would love to, we're not able to be everything to everyone. So we focus on those sporting codes as I showed you. And if there are any interest in other sports, as an example, boxing, we then refer them to the nearest club or area where they are able to pursue that. Because going back to what Annika was saying is, just because we don't have it doesn't mean you can't do it. But unfortunately, as I say, we have got chess, we don't have badminton and table tennis. Does that answer your question, James?
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Neve. I hope you are answered, James. Any other question before we let Ms. Neve go? Okay, so in the absence of questions or comments, then thank you so much, Ms. Neve. We will proceed to the next presenter.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting us to present. I'm Karabo Mjali, and I'm the operations manager and producer of UJ Arts and Culture. I haven't really prepared a presentation, but I would like to refer to some things and show examples of the things that we do on our social media page, on our Facebook page, which I will refer to afterwards. Really, what I've prepared today is mostly just our student offering, and I will obviously touch on the other things that we do as well. So firstly, just in terms of the opportunities we have for students, we have the UJ Arts Academy. And in the Arts Academy, we have dance classes, so contemporary dance and ballet classes. We have partnerships with a company called Broken Borders Art Collective, which is run by a world-renowned choreographer named Fana Shabalala, who is teaching the contemporary dance, and he's also an artist in residence here at UJ Arts and Culture. And then we have the ballet program, which is in partnership with Volley Ballet, which is a ballet school, and they are teaching ballet at the classes. These classes are obviously offered to students free of charge. And we also have drama classes. We have a poetry program, which is quite a big program that has been going for a number of years. It's run by a poet named Kwaz Root. And we have quite a few. We have slam every single end of the month. We have quite a few students who are part of the program, I think about close to 100 students. And we have a partnership with the biggest poetry festival in Africa called Poetry Africa. Poetry Africa, and we have a slot in the program for Poetry Africa. So Poetry Africa happens here at UJ. It actually opens here at UJ. We've had the partnership going on for 2 years now. And they also do the Poetry Festival in Durban. I think the festival's been going on for 50 years. I stand to be corrected. And then we also have a photography club, which we run for students. We give them photography classes, and then this culminates in an exhibition at the end of the year. And then at the end, and also in addition to that, within the Arts Academy, we have a lot of workshops for students. So even if it's students who are not necessarily registered within the Arts Academy, we have different artists, and we usually have international collaborations. A few weeks ago, we had workshops for students with a professor from UCLA who presented a hip-hop poetry show called DreamWorks here at UJ Arts and Culture. And also all the students who participate in the Arts Academy and finish with the showcase at the end of the year get a cultural bursary. And in essence, it's a certain amount, depending on how many points they accumulate, that'll go towards that'll go towards their school fees. Just want to share my social media pages. So these are just some images from the Arts Academy showcase that we had at the end of the year. Just in general from the showcase. Yeah. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to move over to the next program that I don't know if you guys mind if I can switch off my camera. I'm just going to do that. Cool. So the next program that we have with students is called Theatre 101. Theatre 101 is offered to all the students in the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture, and essentially it's an interdisciplinary collaboration project for all of the students that are in second year, and they are all tasked. So this is architecture students, fashion design, jewelry design, multimedia, industrial design, interior design, basically all of the departments within the faculty, and then the students come together to design a show. So the show that they're designing this year is we're doing The Picture of Dorian Gray, which we'll be producing and staging next year. But the students from last year designed for 1001 Nights, which is a production that we did last year that I will show you pictures of in a moment. And essentially in the program, they are tasked to design the set, the costume, the marketing campaign, essentially. And I'm forgetting one: set, costume, marketing. Yes, and the props and all of the props for the show. And they've come up with phenomenal work. This program is a multiple award-winning program. So we have won Best Set Design, Best Costume Design at the Naledi Theatre Awards, which are basically the South African Theatre Awards. So it's the quality of work that comes out of the program, and the training that the students get from the 2-week program that's facilitated by UJ Arts and Culture is really something that is recognized within the arts industry as a whole. So I just want to find some images that I can share with you guys to show you pieces of 1001 Nights. So here's one of the posters. So essentially what we do with the program is that we hire a professional cast of actors. This is Jolly Lowe, who is quite a well-known actress within the musical theatre space. And then those actors work with students in the production. So what we do is we give our drama students, who are essentially students who are studying anything within the university, we give them then an opportunity to work with professional actors. So over and above the classes and the training that they get, they also get opportunities to do productions and shows that are within the industry. And a lot of the alumni from the Arts Academy have actually gone to pursue careers within the arts industry. Okay. All right, then I'm going to move to the UJ Choir. So the UJ Choir, which is celebrating 50 years this year, is also a world renowned choir. We won the World Choir Games, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and really one of the best choirs in the country. The UJ Choir was run by Renette Bauer, and as I mentioned, we celebrating 50 years, so we will be having a huge celebration in October. So we essentially, all of the students who participate in the choir, that's the choir that performs obviously at all of the graduation ceremonies, but we do tours, we do concerts, we do shows, sometimes international tours, depending if it's possible. And all of the students who participate in the UJ choir get a full bursary. So it's a really great one to participate in. It is truly prestigious just within the industry and extremely beneficial to the students who participate. As I mentioned before, the Arts Academy also has a cultural bursary. There's a certain amount that the university allocates to us, and then that amount is divided amongst the students depending on their participation. And then we have the Arts Appreciation Program. So we have students who are signed up to the Arts Appreciation Program. And the aim of this program really is to build audiences within the arts. So we're trying to build future consumers of art, not just at UJ, but in industry as a whole. So we have a few things that we do within this thing, and this includes inviting students to all of our gallery exhibition openings, and we also invite them to all of the internal events that we produce at UJ Arts and Culture. This includes film screenings. We have Umbono film screenings. And the film screenings are in partnership with a company called Love Infinity Media. And essentially, we screen short films to students, and then afterwards we have a Q&A session with the filmmakers where students get to interact with the filmmakers, with the directors, producers, and sometimes cast members of the films. And also in this year, what we did in partnership with SciCAD is we had Unmasked and Disclosed, which was basically an open mic session. And this really was born out of the statistics of the suicide rate and just the mental health issues that SciCAD is dealing with on campus. And we jumped on board to come up with this thing to kind of give students a platform where they can discuss, where they can tell stories, where if there's anything that they want to express, they can express it, which went really, really well. We had a few of these series. They went well, and we had a lot of students who kind of got up and, spoke their stories. And we're hoping to continue with this partnership with SciCAD. And then we also have a huge internship program that is funded by CATSETA, where we get a number of interns, anything between 20 and 50 interns who basically work in several UJ departments, but who also go and intern at spaces like the Market Theatre, the Windybrow Theatre, Business and Arts South Africa, the Arts and Culture Trust, and a few companies within an organization within the arts space, and a lot of the young people who go through the internship program are UJ alumni, are UJ students. So we also offer that. So this is kind of in a nutshell, all of our students offering. Oh, and in addition to this, we have several spaces that we manage. We have a 428-seater theatre on APK called the Kiorapetso Khositsile Theatre. We have the Bunting Theatre, which is on APB. We have an office and rehearsal space on the DFC campus and an office and rehearsal space on SWC. So we're operating on all of the campuses. The classes happen on various campuses depending on how many students are situated where. And we also have the experimental theatre, which is at APK, which is close to the student centre. And the experimental theatre is available to students who need a space to kind of rehearse. So we offer it to our Arts Academy students to kind of rehearse their pieces if they'll be performing. That space is also available to students in general if they need a rehearsal space to do some sort of arts or creative thing. Obviously, it's not whatever the students are doing cannot be charged to other students. It cannot be for a fee. So we obviously use our discretion when we select who can use the space, but that is available to students as well. And in addition to that, our Arts Academy students who do dance and poetry and sometimes drama perform for different UJ departments for events. So UJ departments will come to our department if they need entertainment for an event. So if it's an award award ceremony or anything like that, then they will approach us and they let us know that can we have, you know, poets to perform for this thing or dancers to perform. And then we will select from the Arts Academy students. So we also service the university in that way through the Arts Academy. So that's in a nutshell kind of our student offering. We also produce professional productions. These professional productions are tied into creative outputs, and we also kind of tour, like partner with different professionals within the field to produce works in our department. I just want to find a reference of a show that we recently did called Without Limits at the Free State Arts Festival. We received, I think, 7 nominations in total. UJ received 7 nominations. So we went to the Free State Arts Festival early in July, and we presented Without Limits, which is a video mapping project that we did in partnership with Broken Borders, which is the company and choreographer that is running our dance program. And then the gallery also took an exhibition that is in partnership with MTN. And what we did is that we got 7 nominations and we won 2 awards, one for Best Artistic Design and the other for Best Gallery Exhibition, which was really, really exciting. I'm just trying to find the video that we sorry, I'm just going to share my screen. So this is the video mapping project that we're doing, that we did in partnership with Broken Borders, we're also going to be doing some research around this thing, and it was really an exploration more than anything, because it was the first time any of us were did a video mapping project, which was really quite exciting. Okay. Right. No, I don't think so. Anyway, I'm almost done. No, but it's not going to charge the laptop. Yeah, I've tried this. Cool. Sorry, I got in a bit of a tiz because I just realized I left my charger at work. But anyway, I'm sure I'll still have a little bit of power on this laptop. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And yeah, I'm happy to take questions while I still have power.
Hi, can I speak?
Sure.
Right. Hi. Thank you. It was a very
yes, go ahead.
insightful thank you, Karabo. It was very insightful, all what you had to speak about in the Arts and Culture program at UJ. I just want to know, with the photography and the contemporary dancing, where are those classes offered? I'm on the Soweto campus.
So we have a dance studio at APB, close to the Bunting Theatre. That's where all of that's where the contemporary dance classes happen. The ballet classes happen at APK. We've also got dance studios over there. And what was the other class? And the photography class is online. So we run the photography class on WhatsApp. We have 2 online masterclasses, and then they submit photos every month, and then we select the best photos, and they basically win a prize at the showcase for the best photo at that exhibition.
So how do you get onto the WhatsApp? I mean, would you give us the number, or how do we get that information? Yeah.
So at the beginning of every year, we get students to sign up for the Arts Academy. So it's through the Arts Academy. So the students will select on the form what they want to participate in. And then what we do is then we'll create the groups so that we can communicate with the students. We do a lot of the communications for the Arts Academy on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will it be too late if we had to join, or must we join next year?
No, you can actually, we just started this month and the masterclasses haven't happened. So please, if you can just maybe get a hold of me after this, and then I can put you in contact with our Arts Academy coordinator.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Karabo, with the presentation. Any other questions for Ms. Karabo? Okay, so in the absence of questions or comments, thank you very much, Ms. Karabo, for your presentation and for honoring our invitation to come and present on behalf of the UJ Arts and Culture. We really appreciate your efforts in preparing and presenting this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will move on to our next presentation, which is the SRC, represented by Ms. Tekiso Sodumo.
Good morning, colleagues, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Portia Tekiso. I am the student development practitioner for this campus at APK campus. We have other student development practitioners in other campuses, which is IPB. We have Ms. Uno Tando. At Soweto, we have Ms. Litweni. Nkeki Litweni, and at Doornfontein campus, we have Mr. Derek Vuma. So basically today, I am going to talk about the SRC and the clubs. The SRC represents all the students, and it advocates for student needs, and so that the students can be heard. We have 48 members. Sorry, colleagues, next door, they are cleaning the carpet, so don't mind the sounds. We have 48 SRC members, which 40 represent campuses, 10 per each campus, and the 8 are central members, where these members represent students in committees such as MEC committees, ELG committees, and all the other committees where students need to be represented. And after the SRC, we have clubs and societies. At this campus, we have 109 clubs and societies, which we have 4 categories. We have academic societies, we have religious societies, we have social societies, and political societies. And for postgrad, we have a postgrad forum where all postgrad students can come together and have their activities. And after the societies, we have councils, which represent students in their faculties. We have a prim council, which is consists of all house committees and resident students. We have faculty council, which represents all students in their faculties. We have societies council, which represent all societies, clubs and societies. We have sports councils and arts and culture councils, which represent students in all those domains. The SRC represent the students in this manner. They call the mass meetings for the students to come together to have their views and to talk about issues that they need that are happy with, they're not happy with. They're called mass meetings in all campuses, and these mass meetings happens quarterly. In the first semester, it happened in the end of April, and now it's gonna happen again end of August. These mass meetings are held so that students are represented in student parliaments. Student parliaments, that's where students all go and discuss policies about the policies that are not that are they not happy with. They discuss this and those, and then we take them to the MEC for them to be looked at and then be passed there. So this happened in the first semester and also in the second semester. What also happens is these societies, what we do have is we have events for postgrad students. These events consist of academic seminars where we partner with ADC and SciCat. We have also engagements where we hold town hall discussions and debates. We have also cultural events where we hold financial literacy seminars, postgraduate seminars. We do hikes and we do fun walks and we do all creative workshops depending on the need for that semester. And also we do this so that, you know, students can have activities. And we know that in this year, we have not had much participation from postgraduate students. And I was so happy when Onika came through to our office to say that they would like to actually us to present to you guys. So I'm happy to let you know that we have a postgraduate forum that all postgraduate students belong to, and we are open and able to do the other events that you guys want to do. That's where I will end, and I'm now open for questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Portia, for your presentation. Do we have a question for Ms. Portia? If I may ask, Ms. Portia, so where can the students get more information regarding the postgraduate?
Okay. The information, you can get it from my office because I'm in charge of the postgraduate forum. So this is where we will give you all the information regarding what's going to happen. Right now, we are going to host a postgraduate seminar, and we're also planning to post the hike, to host the hike. So we're just waiting to confirm in terms of the seminar, the speaker that we want to invite. The seminar is going to happen on the 13th of September, and the hike is going to happen the first week of October.
Okay, that's great. So I would also maybe ask if you have maybe a flyer for these activities. Maybe you can share with us and we can share on our postgraduate community so that we can reach a large amount of postgraduate students.
We'll definitely share the poster as soon as we design it. We'll definitely send it so that you can invite a lot of students. Because what we normally find is that we do these events for postgraduate and we get all undergrad students. We'd really like all the postgrad students to attend our events so that we understand what kind of events they want us to host.
Okay, thank you very much. So I have one last question. So in most cases, you find that especially the pre-registration, so the pre-registration programs are not really funded. There are no bursaries for postgraduate, especially the pre-registration. So is there any financial assistance from the SRC for specifically pre-registered postgraduate students, maybe when they want to register in the beginning of the year, because I am aware that there is financial assistance for undergrad in the beginning of the year when they want to register. So is there such a case for the pre-registered postgraduate students as well?
Yes, we definitely have the SRC Trust Fund, which assists all the students, including postgrads, to register. The fund is for only to register. To register is for the tuition, and then if you do stay at the residence, and it also pays the residence. The students need to apply and be part of the fund, because it opens end of November to beginning of December. So the trust fund is open to all students, including postgraduate students.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other question that is directed at Ms. Portia? No questions. So I see James' hand is always up, so I don't know if it's an old hand or is it a new hand. I'm not sure, but you can always post your question in the chat if you can't speak. Thank you so much also, Mrs. Portia, for your presentation. I really appreciate your efforts and for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now we are going to move on to our fourth unit, which is the technology transfer unit, which will be represented by Ms. Ruwaida. Over to you, Ms. Ruwaida.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. I just want to confirm that you can see my screen.
We can see your screen, but your slides are not on presentation mode as yet.
Okay. Are they on presentation mode now?
They are now, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So, good morning, everybody. I'm Ruwaida Moideen, and I'm from the university's Technology Transfer Office. I feel like I should have come first, because after all the fun things that were going on, I might sound a bit too serious, but nonetheless, we can go ahead. So who are we? Who's the TTO? The Technology Transfer Office is located within the Research and Development function at the university. And essentially, we are responsible for managing the university's intellectual property, which I'm going to explain is what, and then facilitating transfer of that intellectual property, as well as promoting a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship within the university. So what services do we offer? One of our main functions is intellectual property identification, and then protecting that intellectual property, understanding what it does, and then building a case so that we can essentially get that to market and let it make an impact to those, be it financial or social, to those who it was intended to benefit. We then also offer incubation services. This is a fairly new offer that the TTO is doing. So we launched a hot desking service last year where we allowed student entrepreneurs or granted them free office space, including Wi-Fi and tea and coffee, etc., to come and run their businesses. We also run a whole host of innovation challenges, and currently we in the process of launching a maker space and iLounge, so stuff like 3D printing, etc., on our TTO campus to assist business incubation of student entrepreneurs. We then also offer various funding. We facilitate external funding through the Technology Innovation Agency. We also have our own internal funding through the GES fund, where we then put out a call And if you meet the criteria, then we grant you funding to advance your research and development. So this is going to be a bit technical, but I'll try and get through it without going into way too much detail, but so that you understand what exactly is intellectual property. You know, what am I talking about? So essentially, intellectual property is any creation of the human mind that comes out of activity in your brain, be it in the scientific, commercial, literary, and artistic field. But then obviously you have to translate that mental or intellectual activity into something tangible. You have to be able to see the work that you've done, be it in a written form or any other way. Intellectual property rights is then the legal protection afforded to that intellectual activity, to that creation of the mind. So you get a legal right that gives you some benefit for the work that you've done. And these rights come in the form of patents, registered designs, copyrights, trademarks, and plant breeders' rights. And an unregistered design or unregistered right is trade secrets, which I'll also touch on briefly. So in the university environment, we're conducting research, particularly if you're doing your master's or your PhD, there's a high chance that you're going to come up with something that's new and novel, that contributes to the body of knowledge, and that has potential to go to market and make money. So it needs to be, such work needs to be identified and then protected so that you can derive benefit from it. So one means of protecting such work is through patents. You've probably heard the word, but you always confused. What is it? What does it do? Etc. So a patent essentially protects any invention, product, process, device, or in the biotechnology field, a compound of a technical nature. So patents are to protect technical inventions. What is a patent essentially? It gives you, the person who's filed for the patent, the right to stop anyone else from doing what you've done. So it gives you this monopoly to own this work and stop anyone else from doing it. But it only lasts 20 years, so it's time limited and it's territorial. You have to file for patents in the countries in which you want to be protected. And what do you have to do in return? You have to give up all your secrets. So full disclosure of the work you've done, how you achieve the outcome, etc. And in return, you get a time limited monopoly in a specific territory, provided that you maintain the patent. But it's not just, oh, I got this and I think it's great and I'm going to get a patent. Patentability requirements are very strict from a legal sense of view. There's only certain subject matter that qualifies as patentable. And then there's three main, if it is patentable subject matter, there's three main criteria that is examined. The first one being novelty, which is a sort of black and white search. Is it new? Are you the first in the world to have come up with this or not? It's important to note here that, researchers often are eager to publish. But it's important to know that if you publish your work prior to getting patent protection, then you've destroyed your own novelty essentially. So we encourage all our researchers to come speak to us first if they feel that they have something that's protectable prior to publishing. And I think on the next slide, I'll touch on, it's not either or. It's, managing it incorrectly. So that's the main requirement. The second requirement is inventive step, which is a bit more subjective than novelty. What essentially it says, it must be something surprising or unobvious to a person that has a similar skill set to you. And the third one is usefulness. There has to be use for it in the world. So those are the key requirements for patenting that we will assess before, making a decision on whether we're going to protect your work or not. I touched on this just now. You have to understand the difference between a patent and a publication. It has very different requirements. If, for example, inventors on a patent are very strict. They have to have an intellectual contribution to the work, as opposed to authors in publication, where you can, do work in a lab and then get your name on the patent. So you need to understand the difference between the two. Another form of intellectual property rights is copyright, and copyright exists automatically. So there's no formal registration process like with patenting, as long as, and it's applicable to the literary, musical, artistic, broadcasting, computer programs or software, as long as your work has been reduced to a tangible format. So, anything in your brain doesn't have a copyright protection. You have to have written it down or performed it, etc. And it gives you the right to reproduce, publish, or give others the right to do so as the author or creator of that work. And important to note that with copyright, the creator of the work is the owner. Whereas with patents, even though you as the researcher are the inventor, you're not necessarily the owner, and I'll touch on that later on. Then there's designs. Design rights are applicable to anything that has an aesthetic appeal. So if, for example, you've come up with a bottle that looks great, has a certain shape or, certain design that's new and original, then you can protect that via registered design. In South Africa, there's 2 types of design. Not all countries in the world have this. Most countries just have aesthetic design, where in a functional design, you have a design that then necessitates a certain function. So if we look at the bottle again, if it has an indentation, for example, that allows you to hold it more easily, you can get functional design protection for that. Similar to patents, it's territorial and it gives you the right to stop others from doing the same thing. But only functional designs have a 10-year lifespan, whereas aesthetic designs have a 15-year lifespan. So after that time is lapsed, it means that then is open to use by anyone. I think the most commonly known form of intellectual property is trademarks, because we see them everywhere all around us. It's essentially signs, logos, words that serve to distinguish our goods and services from those of any others. So it can be a word, it can be a logo, it can be a shape, letter, pattern, etc. that we use to distinguish our product or service from another. So you can have a trademark without formally registering it. So you can start a business, give it a name, and operate under that name without having formal protection in the form of a trademark right. However, if someone else uses that same logo and makes, sort of steals your logo and then runs a business with that, you don't really have legal recourse against them unless you can prove that you've established, so it makes it a bit more trickier without trademark protection. Trademarks are restricted to classes. So what that means is if you file for a trademark, for example, in class 28, which is games, it's not applicable to clothing. You'll have to have protection in class 26 as well for clothing. So trademarks are class specific. But the advantage of a trademark is that it can last forever. So unlike patents and designs that have a lifespan of 20 years and 15 years respectively, trademarks are indefinite, provided that you pay their maintenance fee every 10 years, they can last forever. So it's also a very strong form of intellectual property protection. So to summarize, if you consider a basic bottle of cough syrup. There's all forms of intellectual property in this. So the syrup itself, for example, could be protected by patent if it has a certain formulation and certain compounds that were brought about in a certain way. It could also be protected by a trade secret. However, with medical applications, there's a need to disclose ingredients. The lid, for example, of the bottle could have patent protection if, often with medicational bottles, there's the restriction, you can't just open it, you'd either have to press it or pop it first, so kids don't have easy access to it. You could either have a patent for that, or if it just looks a certain way, even a design or functional design, the name of the actual syrup, for in this case Benylin, is protected via trademark, how it looks, the font of the writing, the colors, etc. The logo could be protected by copyright, the instructions, the insert leaflet in the bottle, directions for use, etc. Copyright protection. And then the shape of the bottle could be design protection. So simple thing like a bottle of cough syrup encompasses almost all forms of IP protection. So that was just to show you how it works essentially all together. Then we move on to a legal instrument called Intellectual Property Rights from Publicly Financed Research and Development Act, or commonly referred to as the IPR Act, which came into effect in August 2010. University of Johannesburg, being a public university, is obligated to prescribe to the regulations of this act. So it's very important that we understand what the impact of that is on us being part of the university, either as students or as staff. So the act essentially was created to encourage more effective utilization of any intellectual property that's created using publicly financed R&D. So if you use university resources and supervisors, for example, in the course and scope of your dissertation or thesis, it's public funding. And so we want to ensure that if there's IP that's coming out of that, that's protected and commercialized. It doesn't just sit in the book. Then the Act also created the National IP Management Office to ensure that publicly financed research institutions comply to the regulations of the Act. As UJ, we then have the obligation to disclose any new intellectual property that comes to the Technology Transfer Office to NIPMO, and then as the TTO, we have a responsibility to commercialize that IP. Means we want to make money out of it. The Act also allows for or creates what they call an IP fund, which allows the TTO to then recoup some of the money that we use on IP protection back from the government, provided that we disclose and report this regularly. The Act also sets out certain conditions and preferences for transactions, for example, licensing. Do we do it exclusively, non-exclusively? To who do we do it, and what approvals are required in order to do it? The Act also explains the principle of benefit sharing. I think I'll explain that in the next slide or two, what exactly is benefit sharing and how does it impact you as an IP creator, and it also gives the state or the republic certain rights to publicly funded R&D outcomes. So UJ has an intellectual property policy. The last approved one was September 2021. The purpose of the policy, which is then very heavily aligned to the IPR Act, is to encourage the development of university intellectual property and encourage IP creators to disclose that and essentially create value. and make an impact. It governs the ownership, management, and exploitation of university IP in the best interests of the university, the IP creators, and the society. The IP creators would then be the researchers or the masters or PhD students, and essentially anybody that comes up with new IP using university funding and resources. So essentially, if you, as a university student or researcher, identify that you've come up with something that has potential for commercialization, you have a responsibility to disclose that to the Technology Transfer Office before you publish, through the disclosure process, which I'll go through. The TTO has a specific disclosure process that you use to do this. And then we then essentially identify if it's something that requires formal protection or it can proceed to commercialization without formally protecting it, market assessment, etc. If the IP that you create does result in, for example, a license to a company that then makes money from it, and then the university receives royalty back from that license, you as an IP creator, according to the law in the IPR Act, are entitled to share in those benefits. So if the university makes money from any of the work that you've created, we have to give you a portion of that money, a portion of that proceeds, which is approximately 20 to 30% based on the IPR Act. So if we make 10 Rand in royalties, you're entitled to get 3 Rand as the IP creator of that work. And even if you leave the university, you're still entitled to get that money. Even if you pass on, your heirs are entitled to get that money. Yeah, then a key thing to understand is IP ownership. So who owns the work that you've created during your course and scope of studies or course and scope of your employment? As per the legislation, IP that's created in the course and scope of your employment is owned by the university. An IP created in the course and scope of your research carried out under the supervision of an employee or making use of university resources, it's owned by the university. So that's an important thing to note. That, however, doesn't mean, that's why I spoke about benefit sharing first. It doesn't mean we get all the benefits from that. It's just how IP is governed legally. So if, for example, you come up with something that's completely unrelated to the work you do at the university, if you, for example, a student doing your PhD in bioenzymes, and then in your own time and space, you've developed this amazing guitar that does amazing things, that's completely your work and owned by you. It has nothing really to do with the university. However, we can still provide you with the support if you want us to help commercialize it. But it's important to note that IP developed in the course and scope of your employment or studies is owned by the university. So how can the TTO support you through the research and innovation process? We have this innovation flow where then you disclose to the TTO, we then assess it, we protect it if necessary, we market it, and then you create money out of it. The actual invention disclosure process is done through an online form. So the TTO will provide you with a link, and then you complete and submit a form online. Essentially, what we want is engagement prior to you actually submitting this form. We want to speak to you, understand better what your work is about. Is it necessary to disclose, etc.? And then once, if it's necessary, then and you do submit, we then conduct an assessment in terms of intellectual property, as well as market assessment. Is there value in the work? Can it be protected? If not, why, etc. And then we assign a case manager that will then help you build a business case and take you through the next steps of the commercialization process. Yeah, so there's various ways we can support you. We provide advice to researchers and students on all aspects of IP tech transfer, how to do collaboration with other universities. We assist you to disclose that IP, define a business strategy, find suitable commercial partners, market UJ intellectual property and technologies. And then we provide funding, like I alluded to earlier, if you qualify and meet the criteria, as well as an incubation program for student entrepreneurs. So we have an open door policy. We're situated not on campus, we're situated just off campus next to the McDonald's. That's the easiest way to explain it. And you're welcome to come to our offices at any point. So that's it from me. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Ruwaida, for that very detailed and insightful presentation. We learned a lot today. Any questions to Ms.
I either just confused everybody or did a good job of over explaining. But I mean, if you do have questions after, feel free to pop an email to me or to one of my colleagues. I will be away for the next 4 months. But I will share my colleagues' details with Koketso, and then she can share it with you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Ms. Ruwaida, you did a very great job, because some of the things most of the students are not aware of. So this presentation was very, very insightful. Thank you for preparing and presenting this presentation, and also honoring our invitation. We really appreciate your efforts. Okay, we have a question. May you unmute yourself and speak? Yes, you can
So-
unmute.
Hi, thanks. It was really informative. So I can understand now, as you went on into the presentation, how it affects like the different faculties, like maybe architecture, design, and engineering. Now, from an education perspective, what would be information that we would need to protect? I'm just trying to like work out, because we wouldn't have like trademarks, we wouldn't, or maybe I'm just not understanding, but in terms of from an education faculty now, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
In
so
terms
I
of new
mean,
information.
right. So, for example, in the Faculty of Education, you might come up with a teaching tool
Right. Okay.
that could be protected in a certain way. Or, you know, recently we've actually had someone from the Department of Communication that had come up with a board game to teach. So in terms of
Right.
teaching and learning tools that, you know, you come up with that are innovative and that can be applied outside, or application outside the university, or can be applied at other universities as well, then there's the, you know, opportunity to go to for us to assess
Protected.
that and see. Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
it's there's usually that sort of perception that it's only you know, relevant to the Faculty of Science and Fairway, given they are our biggest clients, obviously based on the nature of work they do. But you know, there's a move in technology transfer to what they call SHAPE, or what they calling SHAPE, which is social sciences, humanities, and arts for the people and economy, which then tries to focus on, you know, in inverted commas, non-scientific fields. So yeah, I hope I've answered you.
No, you did, because we are there are a lot of toolkits that comes out of recommendations out of studies that
Yeah.
can now be looked at. Now I just
Yeah.
needed, but you've given me the answer.
Thanks. Problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm assuming also maybe when you are in education, maybe if you are developing an application or a teaching and learning application, that could apply as well, right? A
Yes,
technological
exactly.
application.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Very insightful. So now we're gonna continue with our program. Thank you very much, Ms. Ruwaida. As I've stated, that was very insightful. There's a lot of things that we didn't know that UJ offers. So thank you for that. And the next unit is the protection services. So Mr. Conrad has not joined us as yet. However, I'm gonna please give me 5 more minutes. So maybe we can take a 5 minutes break and then I will try to get hold of him so that we can proceed with our last unit for the day. Please also, Ms. Rueda, may I ask that you share the presentation with me so that I can also make it available on our Moodle community for everyone who joined and those who could not join.
Sure, I'll do that. I
Thank
need to
you.
excuse myself now as well, if you don't mind.
No problem.
Sure.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Can I ask that we take a 5 minutes break and then we'll come back and I will try to get hold of Mr. Conrad from Protection Services. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for that. Please, we apologize for the inconvenience. It looks like we cannot get hold of Mr. Conrad van der Worst from Protection Services. I tried to call him, but he's not picking up. So we are just going to end the session here today, and I will get his contact details, and maybe if he had prepared a presentation, then I can share it with you on our Moodle community, and I can also share his contact details and the office where he is based, so that you may be able to contact him if needs be. But at the moment, I don't think he will be able to come and present. Apologies for the inconvenience. We really, really deeply apologize for this. And may I kindly ask you for the last time to complete the feedback survey on the chat. And if there are no more questions or comments, then I think we can conclude our session here. I do hope that it was very informative. All the units that we had here have had very insightful presentations, even information that we previously didn't know. And I hope it is going to be helpful to you. And with that said, please enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.